Hey, what's up, guys and gals? My name is Ricknineg. I'm already having hair issues today because I showered and then I didn't comb my hair. And then I was like, I gotta comb it. And then, so yeah, so ignore the hair issues. How you guys and gals doing today? I'm doing great. I went flying today, so I came back and I was like, let me do a video. I have a bit of a migraine. I have to tell you, I took like Advil. Hopefully it helps. But yeah, hopefully everyone is doing okay on this lovely, lovely Monday evening. That's why I love to do these live streams, at least now at the current moment on Mondays, because ooh, look at my eyes, shine bright like a diamond. Because I don't know, it's just great to be able to, on Mondays, people could be so frustrated on Mondays and have some positive stuff coming Mondays. So I do appreciate those who are making it here live to the live stream. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that you're here. Leanne is here, Sarah is here, and so many of you also. I'm just speaking to the people in the chat who are saying hello. A few things I have to say. Hopefully you're keeping positive. Hopefully you're keeping hopeful. It's interesting because I do want to get this out of the way, and that is that YouTube could be an interesting place. It could be a place to uplift or to put down, and I always want my channel to be a place to uplift and have a community of people who like the same things and just enjoy what we do. And hopefully if you're here, you're part of this community. You see wayward comments here and there, which I think don't carry that spirit of positivity and love that we're trying to share. So if you ever see something like that, and you have the heart, respond in a positive way. Maybe make that person's day a little bit better by saying something nice, or just brightening up their day. I think it's great to do that. It's funny because sometimes I have people see a video and then they think they know me through one video, and it's just interesting. A recent comment, again, I won't dignify it by saying it, but I want you to know that that happens to me. I'm sure it happens to you, maybe the workplace, at school, wherever it may be, but I don't want you to let it get you down. I want you to come here and enjoy. Today we're gonna look at 2 I Love Lucy episodes, the marriage license and the kleptomaniac. We're going to go through all the info, all the stuff you need to know about these episodes, and just get started. So hopefully you're having a lovely, lovely Monday. Let's start the marriage license. This is fairly early on in I Love Lucy. We're still in season 1. We're kind of going through the chronological route here, or at least the route in which they aired. So let's get that started. Oh, look at that chat. Nice to see you, Jared. You have a headache earlier as well. It's better now. Ready to see you live. Awesome. My headache is better, but it's still there. It's like here, and it goes up to like here. Anyway, it was kind of a warm day flying today, and so, I guess it can happen. What is going on with this hair stuff here? Anyway, I'm glad I found you, John, as well. It's glad to, oh, yes, and my heart goes out to everyone who has been affected by the Hurricane Florence. I know it's on the other side of the country, but we are thinking of you, and we want you to be safe. And I Instagram that. I was like, hey, if you're in the area, please be careful, because I don't know if people watch this, and I heard that a lot of people are taking a stand and not leaving, and I heard it was really bad. So I was like, please just take precautions and keep yourself safe. I want to see all my people back here. Like, I don't want to hear any bad stories. So hopefully everyone is okay and doing well. Let me just get on this episode. I would just make sure I don't miss anything, because this is the marriage license. Now, who knows what this episode is about? Because let me just go to it. This episode to me is pretty interesting because it all has to do with a small little lie, and a small little lie that Ricky, of course, pioneered about an error in the marriage license, right? Nice to see. Wow, so many people in the chat. This is awesome. Seems like people really like this hour, by the way. If you're seeing this live, I do thank you. And if you're seeing this like later on, I appreciate it. I wish I can do 50 live streams a day, so I can be here all day and all of you can see me, but it's not possible. So we try to make our schedules work. New York, awesome. Let me know where you're from in the chat. You get headaches easily. I'm scratching the outside of my nose rim, just to let you guys know. We had almost 28 inches of rain here. Oh my gosh, 28 inches of rain? Holy moly. Yeah, we haven't had rain here in a while. Ugh. So sad. Hopefully not many were affected. in the sense of, everyone took precautions and were able to get out. Ricky Bacardi, sorry, I'm seeing all these little funny chat things, and they're ringing a bell into the episode. Yes, and then of course Ricky was like, "Oh, you have a fella at the license bureau that can help me out and so forth." So it was great. Okay, let me read the marriage license. I'm getting so sidetracked, but that's okay, right? This is a live stream. This is more casual. Some people ask me about that. What is on my window? It's a little fuzzy here. It's not window. It's screen. I'm losing track. Apologize for the headache ahead. Okay, the marriage license. This is a April 7th, 1952 release, or it aired on that time. What's going on with the shadows here? Episode 26, filmed on a Thursday, February 28th, 1952. Rating share is 70.4 out of 90. Again, the highest rated episode in I Love Lucy up to this point. If we go through all 26 episodes, the highest rating, the last highest was 66. Yes, the one before, Pioneer Woman, which we talked about last time we had the live stream. So out of 90, that is amazing. That is a huge amount of people watching, way more than half of the population watching this. This is almost 3/4 of people tuned into this. That's ridiculous. Now, Bert Willoughby was played by Irving Bacon. He was the man who also played Ethel's father in the Albuquerque episode in season 4. So keep that in mind. I did make an episode on, why did I feature that? I'm trying to think now. It was some type of best moments. I can't remember. It was one of my recent episodes. It's just I'm drawing a blank right now. And Mrs. Willoughby, of course, called Mother by the husband, was Elizabeth Patterson. We all know the lovely Elizabeth Patterson playing Mrs. Trumbull later on when little Ricky comes into the picture, being really snobby and really angry in the beginning, and then turning out to be a sweet old lady who takes care of the baby. And she sings I Love You Truly as well. Okay, so this is interesting. Accordingly, this episode was the first TV show to be seen in 10 million US homes. Think about that, 10 million US homes. I think my total viewer count, like how many views I've had on my channel, is close to 4 million. This is 10 million, just this one episode. Lucy, of course, I mean, I'm not comparing, but that gives you an idea. That's more than double what I have right now. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz really were married in 1940 at the Byram River Beagle Club. And Ricky says it, but he says Big'em Rag'em Beebles. He messes it up. And it was also reenacting their vows. Oh, excuse me. They also reenacted their vows in a 1949 Catholic ceremony. Lucy's maiden name was Ethel. Lucy's maiden name was Lucille Esmeralda McGillicuddy. Irving Bacon later played Ethelmer's father. I already said that. Good job to my sources here. Yep, and the term about Mrs. Trumbull. So that's awesome. Very, very good. You're in Dallas. It's after 9 p.m. Thank you for tuning in so late. It is just after 7 o'clock over here, so it's awesome to see you on here. John H. Ratings were rarely more than just 50% after the rating systems were adjusted around 1960. Well, good to know. Yeah, I'm sure as more people got more sets, they had to adjust all the ratings, right? And now it's changing, guys and gals. It's people don't watch TV anymore. Like YouTube is the new TV. So, and that's the thing. A lot of people's like, oh, get off the platform. Like TV is, a lot of people from TV and movies are going on YouTube. Why do you think Will Smith, Sylvester Stallone, all these gym people are getting YouTube channels? Because they're getting so much more coverage to another generation that doesn't watch them in movies, because they can't get people to watch movies anymore like they used to. It's just not the same. People are watching Amazon Prime movies, or watching Netflix, and they're on YouTube. Those are the three primary sources of video intake that we have. Very, very interesting. Now my product placement here, I'm not sponsored, so I'm covering it up. Andy Griffith is also a great 50s show. Is it Andy Griffith's 60s? I believe it's a 60s show. Hey, Alec, nice to see you. Yeah, I see that, Nathan, right after that. So obviously there's a delay in how I see the comments and what I say. So awesome. Ash, nice to see you. And Nathan, I'm doing great. You aren't late. You are, let's see. You are about 9 minutes late now. You're perfect. You're fine. Remember, you can watch all the way to the end and then see what you missed later on. Paula, I am in the state of California, the great state, because it's a big state. It's all the way on the side. Well, I don't know how you guys see it. It's on the left side of the country. Not that you would know, but I'm just being silly. It's the left side of the country. I guess this is my left. It would be your right, and then this is the right. Am I right? I don't know. Ratings are so low now compared to the 70s, 80s. Now the top 25 shows have ratings below 10. Wow, I didn't know that. Thank you, John. That's really cool. See, obviously I don't do research into everything, and I'm glad that you guys do that research. Shows used to be canceled for having ratings below 15 or 20. No way. Now shows we have below 10. They can't get enough people to watch them. That's why they're doing all these, I'm telling you, YouTube shows and stuff. It's just what it is, right? Makes you think that the primary channels back in the day were CBS, yep, NBC, and ABC. Now it's Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube. Absolutely. Big three, I would definitely say. And I heard, well, not I heard, I think pretty much the market share in terms of like subscription. So we're talking solely like Amazon and Netflix. Netflix is like 70%. And then 30% is Amazon. Like that's how big, even though the 30% in Amazon is huge, but that's how big of a monster Netflix is. And then YouTube's its own kind of thing because it's like an internet video uploading site. It's a little different. But anyway, thank you for guys for coming. So, of course, we have the point right now, 1951, where, 52. It just turned a few months according to this episode. And Lucy decides to leave because, of course, her marriage license doesn't, well, what is going on? Her marriage license doesn't say Lucy Ricardo. It says Lucy Bacardi or Ricky Bacardi. And she's like, oh, we're not really married because that's not your last name. And so she freaks out. She's like, I can't stay in the same place as you. And so this is one of the first, I have to really pay attention to this. I'm going to make a video on this. Well, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but I will say this. This is one of the first outside, quote unquote, scenes where they sit in between a tree. I don't know if you guys remember that. And they kind of squish in between the tree. And they said when they were newlyweds, they fit perfectly. Now they're all squished because the idea is that they really gained a lot of weight over the years, obviously. And this is in the studio. They didn't go out in a field or anything like that. This is all controlled space. That's why they use a studio, because there's an airplane flying by, if there's a storm, if it's raining, they can still film this, and they can make it day, they can make it night, they can control the space, and that's so important. If you ever go to Universal Studios Orlando, Florida, they show you that concept. It's really cool to see. And yeah, a big video coming up on this stuff, so hopefully you guys and gals enjoy, because I get a lot of questions. People submit questions to Patreon. That's a great way to have your questions made into videos. So that's a great thing. Support on there. Let's see. Oh, Escondido. I know where Escondido is. Close to San Diego, in the one of the southernmost southernmost parts of California. Whoa, right there. I'm so good with my English today. Doing so well. I didn't have problems with the tower, talking to the tower from my plane, but yeah. Yep. TV shows back then were the best. Like this, right? Dixon, like I Love Lucy. Oh, let's see. Sometimes this chat for me cuts out unless I move the mouse, and then it appears like it goes to sleep. Like it thinks I'm not looking at the chat. I don't know, YouTube. I love to have been in the Lucy studio, honest. You and me, myself, John. You and me too. You and me as well. John, you remember seeing Lucy on the Lucy show before and seeing her? Now, a lot of people have told me, I have a few people who said they were at the studio audience for the Lucy show. I even have a subscriber who said that she was at the studio audience with a taping of Home Improvement, the Tim Allen show, which is one of my favorite shows as well. I think she went on a field trip with her class, and that's really cool. So it's like sometimes these people don't even know, like in the audience, how big of a show this will be, and they're just like, I Love Lucy, like they knew it was getting big at this time, but they didn't know, I mean, at this time at all, not even the actors, that this would be like the greatest show of all time. I say that because, I mean, I know a lot of you believe that. It's just so timeless, and it's just so well known that it's like so many people know the show. It's just so big. You were born on the same day as Lucy? That's awesome. So you're in August 6th. August 6th, I believe, is her birthday. I'm an August baby as well. I'm glad to have you catch me, Alex, on the chat. Alex said, "Nice to catch you, Rick," and I'm like, "I'm glad that you caught me in the chat." Awesome. Ooh, what, Julia? Great question. What is your least favorite I Love Lucy episode? Dun dun dun. Now you all know I love the show. It's great. I sometimes it's funny the comments I get. Someone's like, "Yeah, you're obviously not a fan." I'm like, would someone really make over 200 videos of a show that they didn't really like? I even think people who want to bash a show, they're not going to spend that much time doing it, really, and then make 50 cents off of the video, which is not like a bad thing, but you can do so much with your time. And that's why I do this. Like, it was funny. Someone was like, "Oh, do something else." And it sounds, well, I have like 3 other businesses and I work and I'm becoming a pilot. And so it's like, I do this because I love it. It's a hobby. It's really awesome. And if some ad revenue comes with it, great. It's great. But this is fun. I enjoy doing this. I miss it. I had 2 days, by the way, without internet connection. Like my whole zip code didn't have internet. I forgot to really tell many people, but yeah, well, because I didn't put that. So I didn't have internet Sunday and then most of today, and it just kicked back like about 5 o'clock today. So I was like, yes, it was awesome. Oh yes, my least favorite episode. Wow, what a segue. Scotland and Lucy's last birthday. Do not like that one. She is crying almost the entire episode. I like when the I Love Lucy episodes lift me up. Again, very common theme. Not when they're like sad, even though we know it's not that sad because, they did remember her birthday. And there's Mr. Willowy. What a interesting last name. 1952. Calendars in the background, which is kind of nice. I wonder if I can see the month because this is supposed to be April. So I wonder, does it say April in the calendar? I'm really curious now. And it's the guy with all these hats, right? Because he's like the motel attendant. He is the gas station guy. He is the fire chief. He's a police or the sheriff. And yeah, I mean, am I really spoiling this? So many people have watched this episode. So you read that after Lucy moved, Here's Lucy to Universal 1971. Thursday's Universal tours at the right time would end up watching. HL. Oh, Here's Lucy. My bad. Filmed in person. Interesting. You think the best show was the last season when Lucy does a tango? The rest were kind of so-so to me. Henry, did you happen to see the episode where or the video that I made focusing on the longest laugh? You should, because it focuses on that exactly that you just mentioned. And I think you'll love it. I think you love it. Well, thank you, La Bella Vie. Is it V? Vie? I cannot pronounce French. I apologize. Well, I know it's La Belle, but V-I-E is Vie or Ve. I want to learn. I appreciate that for suggesting the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. It does help out. It does spread out the video to other people. It does change the algorithm so it's showing people, hey, people are watching this live stream. And I've had so many people, I had some people find me every day, but I have specific people who write me special comments who are like, hey, I just saw your video. And this was like yesterday. I just saw your video, and they saw a video yesterday that I posted like 6 months ago that honestly I didn't even remember because it was so long ago. And they're like, I love when you talked about how much the cast made. And I was like, oh yeah, I made that video. Thanks for all the thumbs up, guys, and the watches and the shares and the subscriptions. It's just amazing to see all the support. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much. I have some people, this is for people who don't know. If you hit that subscribe button, it does let you know when I go live. Now, if you want to be a hardcore supporter, hit that bell button right after you hit subscribe right next door. And what that does, that notifies you and notify all videos. Because I have some people say, hey, Rick, it doesn't notify me. That's because you didn't say notify all videos. That's what usually happens. I also post it on Facebook. So there's a few ways to make sure that you don't miss any of these. And I have people who are here every single time, and it's just amazing, and I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Hey guys, so you remember as I'm talking in the chat, I have the episode here, I have me here in the camera, and I have the chat. So I please ask your patience. Another way that I 100% will see your that's what it's for. It's a super chat. It highlights your question or comment. And sometimes as I'm talking, the comments go up and they disappear, and so I don't see them anymore. So if I don't happen to answer something, just ask again. That's what this is for. I'm here for a full hour for you guys. We're barely 20% into this. Wait, yeah. Well, no, well, because we're 20. So no, we're more than that. We're almost 40. We're sorry, 40% into this. Almost halfway, and so we have so much more time to do. Oh, Nathan, great question. Favorite modern TV show? I don't watch a lot of modern TV, to be honest. Like, I watch stuff on Netflix. So there's something where it's called like Dark Tourism. I don't know if that's a TV show, but do you mean sitcom? I don't really watch a lot of modern sitcoms. I've been watching The Munsters again, but I've seen that before. I kind of stopped watching The Walking Dead. I haven't really gotten into a new TV show. Oh, well, yeah, I'm watching Big Brother. I don't know if you guys are into that. It's like a reality show, but I think it's more real. Maybe, I don't know. And they're in a house. They're locked in there. I actually applied for the show. I didn't get it. Maybe that was for the better. But yeah, that's really what I'm watching. I'm kind of addicted to that right now. So. Yeah, Henry, awesome point about the egg. About the eggs. Dixon, you think that they did the same with the grapes episode? They didn't rehearse till they filmed it. Not sure though. That's a great question. I have to go look because before I say like yes for sure, no for sure, I would say I don't know for sure. I made an episode on the grapes and specifically how it went down with the woman who was Teresa, I believe her name was, who was like pulling her head down below the grapes, and Lucy was basically choking on the grapes. I made a whole video on why that happened and the reasoning behind that. Lucy was in fear for her life. She said that in an interview. So go ahead and check out that video. I think you'll love it. I have watched Survivor, Julia. I just haven't watched it recently, but yes. Yes. When you were 11, the Monsters first came on TV. Wow. Oh, this thing. Used to imitate Herman's laugh. Such a klutz. He is such a klutz. Herman Munster. Wow. They're all great, though. Alec J, have you ever thought or tried to go on a game show? I was at The Price is Right. Great question. I wasn't called up because I didn't think I was cool enough. Or maybe if they saw my channel, CBS. That's kind of funny because that's CBS and this is like CBS video. And so, yeah, come on down. Ricknineg, probably they wouldn't do that. Anyway, yeah. You'd love to see me on Big Brother? What would I do on Big Brother? I would be like that person who's like super strategic and would be like, but then the eyebrows would give me away because I'd be like strategizing and I'd be like, and then everyone would know and then I'd lose. But no, I would have faith that I would make it all the way. Oh, yes. Oh, interesting. It's a song in French, and that's your name on YouTube. That's awesome. Yeah, so going back to the Munsters, Fred Gwynn did get stereotyped as the part, and he didn't like that. And that's a lot of actors, that's a thing. Like, we can even say that Lucille Ball had that big issue. She was stereotyped as Lucy, like she couldn't be anything else. She did do Stone Pillow, and she did do other characters, but it's almost like she was always playing that character because that's what people knew her for, and that's what she wanted to be known for, kind of. Some they're like forced into it. For example, Patrick Stewart, he wanted to do Shakespeare and theater, and he was called a Star Trek, and he's like, what? Like, he almost thought this show was a joke, and he like made fun of it. He didn't like it, and he was always like, people see him and they call him Captain Picard, and he was always like, why? I want to be known as a great Othello or Macbeth, like that type of actor. And he was always upset about it until finally he's like, well, if I'm known for something, I should appreciate that. And I think that was a good call on his part. I really do. So it's just something to think about. You know, to be honest, when I started this channel, I was doing gaming and I kind of wanted to be known for gaming, but I loved Lucy as well. And I did one video and the channel exploded. And I was like, wow, like compared to the gaming. And then I was like, I guess I'm known as an I Love Lucy guy. And I continue to post other stuff on like Seinfeld and Gilligan's Island and Game, but like I Love Lucy's where it's at. And I appreciate that because I love the show so much that like I watched the episode last night. I went to sleep watching the Fox Hunt episode in season 5 and Lucy's meeting the queen. Like I was around there when I fell asleep. Like I just like I know I can hear the episode, know what's going on. And so yes. William Waldrop. I haven't watched too much of the Dick Van Dyke Show, to be honest with you. Hey Angela, nice to see you. I'm doing a-okay. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? You're doing okay? Yes, great question. So you're asking about the episode where Ricky gets a dog. This is in season 6. We're talking about little Ricky, not big Ricky. And the good point about this one is we hear the dog barking. That is not the actual dog. There's a woman that they use to make the bark, which is kind of cool. I got to do an episode on that. So that's the thing. It's just so interesting how much stuff there is in the show and how much work it took. It took over 100 people to make the show possible, from writers to cameramen to editors to actors, like just everyone. So pretty impressive. Well, yeah, I would say including the crew for sure. Yep, you're very correct, Henry. So whenever you saw the nightclub scene, so right now, the nightclub scene was to the right of the kitchen. Now, what's important to know is that in this episode, there's no nightclub scene. There's no, excuse me, yeah, you don't see the nightclub, and you don't see their bedroom, and so those were used in place of that. You also don't really see the kitchen, and so from what it looked like, the bedroom area was where they had that tree scene. And then when they went to this hotel, that was the club area. Everything went by size. So depending on the size they needed is where they would build a set. And they wouldn't destroy the other set. They could just push it back because this stage was so big. Let's say like yay big. And the sets were fairly small just for like the camera and the people, like in proportion. And I made a whole video on that and just how the layout was. And you can see how big the studio was with the audience, and there was still tons of space on the edges, and that's where they kept the sets. It basically like folded them up. So it's kind of cool just to know that. All right, the episode is done, guys and gals. Let me go to the second one before I continue. And the kleptomaniac. Okay, so the kleptomaniac. Let me read some things on the kleptomaniac. So Joseph Kearns is in this one. He was, I believe, in Dennis the Menace. He was the original, if I'm not mistaken. Was he George? Mr. Wilson. Was he Mr. Wilson? Because I know Gail Gordon was also Mr. Wilson, right? You guys correct me on that. You guys are the trivia masters on that stuff. I know you all will know. You guys and gals are very smart with that stuff. Me, because I don't know. So I would really like to get that knowledge. The Kleptomaniac, this is April 14th, 1952. So just a week after this. Episode 27. Now, the ratings did drop for this one. Not a lot. This is a really big episode. This is still the third biggest episode, the Kleptomaniac, like in terms of popularity between episode 1 and 27. Filmed on Friday, March 7th, 1952. Rating share 63.3 out of 85. Supporting cast, Dr. Tom Robinson, as I said, was played by Joseph Kearns. Now, just to let you know, that out of 85 means just the percentage of people that were watching TV. So people watching Kleptomaniac, there were less TVs turned on than during the marriage license. So that can, I mean, I wouldn't say that was the factor, the important factor, because you have to think about the idea that the big gap between 63 and 70 is a lie. It doesn't justify the 90 and the 85. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. And then you see a baby elephant. Like, think about that. This is in front of a live studio audience. And so they had an elephant somewhere like in a cage waiting to come out in the proper time. Imagine it being in the background going, "Ping!" Right? Like imagine that on a movie studio. It's like, hey, yeah, we have an elephant here, a baby elephant. And I'm sure they had to have a special trainer that knew the baby, so he didn't miss his mom, and just all this stuff just for literally 5 seconds or 10 seconds of airtime of this here elephant. If we're talking about a movie, it's different because they can cut anytime. This is a wild animal in front of 300 people spectating and watching this, not knowing what to expect. Imagine you go to a theater play and then they bring a live elephant on stage and you're just like, whoa, right? Like that's the feeling. And this was in the 50s. They never did anything like that before. So big surprise. All right, so catching up in the comments. That's what I'm telling you guys and gals, that I talk and then the comments go up and then things disappear. And so I'm not ignoring anyone, just let you know. Okay. What do you think of I Love Lucy in color? You don't care for it. Outside the Ropes. So I would like to know, Outside the Ropes, which episodes did you watch? There's a good amount of them in color. I do like the black and white ones. I'm not against the color. I think the color adds some type of cool richness, like a nice flavor. I would compare it to a cake. Cake is what you want, and then the icing, they're both good. I just don't want the icing. I just don't want the cake. I want the cake and the icing. And so what that means is, to me, the color is just like if it just gives you the icing. It's colorful, it's sweet, it's good, but it's not the original, which is the icing and the cake. You want both. So I don't know. That's me. Oh, Coco for the Coco clock. I say Coco clock? The cuckoo clock. Joseph Kearns was George Wilson and Gale Gordon, who looked more like the cartoon. You're correct. George Wilson played his brother John Wilson. Oh, very cool. That is awesome. I remember watching Dennis the Menace. So you guys know about this. I'm really excited because I haven't seen an episode, but I've seen photos of it. So that's really, really cool. I took a little boy, but my mother made me give him back. And she said it just like a snotty voice. It was amazing. Typical Lucy. Typical crazy Lucy. She would have been expecting for Henry. So you're talking about your mother being pregnant at the time of I Love Lucy, which is awesome. Smurfette. So you didn't really like the 2 episodes, Kleptomaniac or I just vegged out there, the Marriage License. Which ones? Or I was gonna say which ones. How many of you like these 2 episodes, Kleptomaniac or Marriage License? Let me know in the comments. I do want to see that. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. For Cocoa Puffs. I'm Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs. Does anyone know that commercial? How long would it take to film an episode of I Love Lucy? I've heard 45 minutes to about an hour, which is like, wait, 26 minutes. You have to remember, they didn't stop and they would redress the set like right there. And then they would have a little bit of a break and then they would talk to you to distract you. That's really fast, just letting you know. Like 40 to 45 minutes to film a 26 and a half minute episode is very fast. Remember, they have to get all these things on cue. And sometimes they need the same space twice. And they had to bring another set in. And so they had to cut. And if there was ever an error, which it was very rare, but sometimes, as you know, they did have to cut things out, for example, because of Desi's accent that was not proper. And so they had to reshoot, things like that. But it was quite rare. And they usually went through it fairly quickly. But then again, you have to set these things up for the scenes. And you have to obviously like turn the lights off in the bedroom. If you're in the living room, to get all the attention there, right? They're not going to illuminate the bedroom and the club when you're focusing on the living room, like right now. And so that all takes a little bit of time. It all adds up. The cameras need to reset, so it does take time. But yeah, very good question. And this comes with sources, about 45 minutes. Yeah, so suddenly snoozing. Rick, what is wrong with you today? I can't speak. Suddenly Susan took over 3 hours to film an episode. I believe that. I definitely do. Price is Right. It did not take an hour. It took longer than an hour. And the show is an hour. It's just how it is. And they cut a few times. And that was in front of a live audience and so forth. How do they know what colors to use? You should really watch, Leanne, my interview with my special guest. I interviewed Greg Oppenheimer, the son of I Love Lucy creator Jess Oppenheimer, and he had a big say in the show in terms of things about the DVDs and a lot of the stuff that's being done now. And he explains it all in that episode that I did with him in that interview. I'll say it very briefly, though, just to give you a taste. A computer does most of it. And then there's also a little bit of hunting for certain dresses and things in the scenes. to give the computer a base to start with, and then after that it's algorithm. So yeah, but he goes into pretty good detail, so you should watch that interview. Don't miss out. Oh, I gotta drink some water here. You love the video, Henry says. You did. Well, that I did. Showing Fred had his own music in a feed. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, some of the stuff I researched, but that was just something on my own that I realized or came up with. Call it a theory, call it a fact, call it whatever you want. I just put this stuff out there. Someone left a comment about the inappropriate moments, which is funny because they're like, why are you picking out all these negative shows on negative points on? And I was like, really? Like, this is something funny that I think shows depth into the show. This is not bashing the show at all. And I didn't come up with that. Like, people wrote on this extensively, how these things are in there. I just highlight it in video form because some people don't have the books or can't do that. And so that's what I do. I compile this information and put it up in video form. So it's just funny. It's like, yeah, I didn't come up with that. I come up with some things, but not everything. So I don't know everything, contrary to popular belief. I think some people think that, which is flattering, but no. Not practical at all. Ooh, favorite TV show from the 80s. You know, I was thinking about that. I was like, what shows are from the 80s? Like, nothing was popping up, and I know there's probably tons. Although some shows really start in the 80s and then went to 90s. Like, when we think of Seinfeld, we think of 90s, right? It's a 90s show, although it started in 89. Star Trek, The Next Generation, same thing. I think it started in 87? I think it's in 87. I think about it as a 90s show, though. So, you know, I don't know how we do that, but Perfect Strangers is a really good show. I started watching it, and it kind of showed its age with like the jokes and stuff. Although when I see Star Trek, not really. And so it just depends. I saw a lot of cartoons in the 80s. 90210, I used to watch. I was on it for a little brief second. No, Jay Scene, Desi Arnaz did not ad-lib on the show. No one did. No one did. And that's a great question. I'm going to have to make a video because I have still people who like argue in the comments and they're like, I swear that was an ad-lib. Probably not. It's like 0.5% the ad-libbing. And that was literally because of an error. They're trying to fix it to go back to the script. Like, that's it. So you can't really say they were ad-libbing. Like, it's not Honeymooners. It's not the Three Stooges, which they would ad-lib certain things. It's not even the Marx Brothers. That would be a good amount, would be ad-libbed. Jim Carrey ad-lib stuff, not I Love Lucy. Everything was scripted. Again, unless it was an error, and then they had to fix the error and go back on track. Great question, though, and I love it. And some people argue the contrary, and that's fine. They can argue against all of the sources that say to the contrary. Cheers. You like Cheers? Never really gotten into that. Taxi, that's true. See, that's the thing, Henry. Is it 70s or is it 80s? I don't know, because it was kind of floating between both, right? Carl Rice. Why did Ricky stop spanking Lucy? Now, if you don't know, that was part of the show sometimes. And the only way I'm going to answer this is this. I'm going to take it in that time period, in that time, in that place, in that context. Just as the studio audience laughed, I laugh because that's the context that I take it into. I'm a student of history, and I understand that. And so that's how I see it. Thank you, John. Perfect. Next Generation Star Trek was on from 87 to 1994. Perfect. Thanks for that. You guys are always on it with the references there. Sci-fi does age better, but sometimes it's bad, John H. Like Back to the Future 2015. Like, it's good. Like, we all love that, but it was so wrong. Flying cars and everything, right? So that kind of aged bad, but it's iconic, and so we love it, and we buy into this world that is nothing like 2015. But, you know, I know what you mean. Like, some sci-fi is like, wow, like pretty on the dot, and Star Trek was on the dot. Still is. Oh, Henry, you are a Three Stooges fan? Have you watched my Three Stooges videos yet? Nathan, Lucy was going to be on the show Cheers. She decided against it because her family told her no one would accept her as anything other. See, that was hard being stereotyped to that character, and it's just tough, right? Yeah. Okay, so now Lucy is doing an amazing part, hiding the cuckoo clock in her bathrobe. Well, it's not really a bathrobe; it's like a trench coat type thing. It's like a plaid trench coat, and the clock is going cuckoo, cuckoo, and she's like, "That was me. I'm doing bird calls. That was a yellow-bellied sapsucker." She said. I'm going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and it's just a great moment. Lucy in her prime, just doing really good stuff. And I remember this episode as a little kid. I thought it was hilarious. Like I knew that she was messing around. I knew that she was being funny, and I enjoyed it so much. Alec J has a question for me. In season 4, which I do encourage questions, Ricky sells a card to Ralph Berger. Ralph Berger actually worked on the show. What did he do? Great question. He was definitely I think he was in the crew. I don't remember offhand, but you're absolutely correct. Yeah, that name pops out at me because it's mentioned before. They use Ralph a lot. They also use Ralph Brady, and he was the saxophone guy in the saxophone episode in season 2. And so they would use real people. If you know Alec, let me know. I just can't think off the top of my head exactly what he was in the show. It's neat that Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, and Leah Thompson were on the Today Show on October 21st, 2015. Isn't that cool? They planned that. I'm sure they planned it. Yeah, so that's a great point, Angela. Lucy did act with her eyes, and I think that's what's so great. Her eyes are beautiful, by the way. Like my dad doesn't even really like the show. Like he just never gets into it. And whenever I'm playing it, like he just sees it. He's like, "Wow, she has gorgeous eyes." Like he says the same thing. I'm like, "Dad, you always say it." He's like, "But it's true." He's like, "I've never seen eyes that are like that beautiful." And I'm like, "Well, you're absolutely right." But they weren't just beautiful. Like she worked well with them, and she used them as a tool to act and be silly and be funny. So thank you very much. Oh, awesome, Alec J. So Ralph Berger was the art director. So that is straight from Alex. Thank you, Alec, for informing us about that. Great thing. And then when Lucy mentions her boyfriends in that one episode, Ricky's not last girlfriend, but Ricky's girlfriend or something. Lucy lists in the beginning like all these men. Those are all men that worked on the show, like Argyle Nelson, I believe, and just all these names. It's really cool. Nathan asks, one scene in I Love Lucy that you can be in the audience for. Oh man, the whole John Wayne episode for sure. I love that one. I've said it before, and I really love that episode to death. All right, Carl, what is my favorite episode? He asks, where Lucy would sing or dance. Wait, where she would sing or dance. Dancing, I would really say the one with Van Johnson, and then the Cuban Pete in season 1 of the very first episodes. Then the one where she would sing, well, she obviously didn't sing really well, really any of the times. I'm the Queen of the Gypsies, Camille, right? In the operetta, I really like that one where she's like singing. I think that's a great one to bring up. I do love Three's Company. Now, outside the ropes, here's the question. The Ropers or Mr. Furley? You got to choose one. Who do you choose? Great point, Jared. So another actor that acts with their eyes currently, Tom Hardy. Yeah, he's great. He's a little bit overused in my opinion right now. Like he's good, but it's just like he's everything. He's Bane, he's Venom, he's Bronson, but he was good in Bronson. I think he was okay in Bane. I'm a big Batman fan, so I feel like I'm so critical of Batman and like everything that happens. Because I watched the cartoon, and the cartoon was pretty much the embodiment of Batman for me, and I wanted like a perfect live action form of that, and it's never really gotten there yet, so I'm very critical. I think he was a good Bane. I don't think he was an amazing Bane. I think he was like his own just Bane, like his own thing, which is kind of good. Like it's not a bad thing, but it's not like the Bane that I wanted to see on camera, like pump up like the Hulk. Like I think the Hulk in the Incredible Hulk was more Bane than Bane. Oh, so a lot of people saying a Ropers, someone else saying tough one. Rogers, I'm guessing maybe that's Ropers. The Ropers, that's hard. I love Donuts. I love Donuts. Now the Lopers are great. The Lopers. The Ropers are great. But to me, Furley is number one just because I love him. I tell you guys, I never really got into the Andy Griffith show, but I used to watch it just for Barney Fife's stuff and like advance it just to see his little parts because I think he was amazing and he was super funny. And I always like knew as a kid that was his iconic stuff because they would play I Love Lucy and then they would play Andy Griffith's show right after, like in this TV schedule. And then sometimes on the weekends they would play Gilligan's Island. That's how I watch Gilligan's Island around 1 o'clock. You know, it was amazing. Mark Hamill, Joker opinions. Mark Hamill is the best voice Joker that I know. Like I've heard some that imitate him. Like if there are legitimate voice actors who are imitating a voice actor, you know that voice actor is pretty OP. So Chrissy, Cindy, or Terry. Process of elimination. Chrissy's awesome. Cindy, fairly good. And Terry, Terry was the last one, right? I'm not really an expert. He's the one. That's the one that Jack finally. Well, no, he found another girl. Yeah, Terry was the last one. I would say Chrissy. I like Chrissy. I just like her in the show. I'm with you, Jared. Like I want the comic version. I know this was Nolan's version, and I respect it. Same thing with Joker. Like I think that was Nolan's version of the Joker. It was still amazing and great. I just wanted to see more Clown Prince. I think it could have worked. It could have. But then that wasn't his vision. You know, I can't change everything, but I think that was a very, very, very much a good thing. Rick, are you a fan of all of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World? Now, I have seen it a few times. I actually thought I would like it more. Like, cameos are great. I felt it dragged on a few points. I actually really, really like Rat Race. Obviously, Rat Race pays homage to It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and I think they've tweaked it to today and age where I can really enjoy that film start to finish, you know? I still have the book. Why am I still holding the book? Top 5 episode of I Love Lucy you want to watch forever on Desert Island. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, because I haven't done my favorite I Love Lucy episodes ever, right? Home movies, bonus bucks, John Wayne, the one where he is actually in it, LA at Last, and the last one. I mean, there's so many, right? But I just pick the ones that I really, really like. And the Chocolate Factory. We'll say that. The Chocolate Factory one, job switching. Ronald M. Would you ever consider doing an episode on Ethel's entrances? She was the best at physical comedy. Now, Ronald, I haven't considered it, meaning I haven't really thought of it. So I appreciate the idea. I'm going to have to really look because Ethel does make some very interesting entrances. And there is the big elephant coming in. He actually tried to grab one of the spoons that Lucy dropped, and she's grabbing him by the ear. Yeah, that elephant was on camera for less than 5 seconds. Let me tell you that. So the episode's done, guys and gals. That felt very quick. Let me just tell you. Any last minute questions, I'd be happy to answer before I go. I got to take my dog out soon, do a few more things. But I do appreciate you guys joining and participating in the chat. And let me know what else you'd like to see. Enjoy Rat Race. Oh, Rat Race. Such a good movie. I just watched it this weekend, and it was great. Yet the Rat Race ending was pretty corny, I thought. Yeah, but the whole movie was pretty ridiculous. Yes, you're right, Alec. The first concept of a rat race totally in the uranium episode. That's why I think that's so underrated. I think a lot more people should like it, and I don't mean that in a bad way, like forcefully, but they really like people have to look into that episode because the uranium episode in the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour has so much genius written into it. The whole concept of the rat race type movie, like the whole genre, came out of that episode, and it's just amazing how it evolved just from one episode of a show. It's like that's amazing. Like I don't know what else to say. It's just the coolest thing ever. Let me see. And Bob Schiller. This is great, John. Would you ever consider smuggling? He's asking me a giant portion of a cheese disguised as a baby, and what cost? Well, only if it was pepper jack, and I would consider doing it. You guys, do you want a cut of the cheese? Do you want to cut the cheese? Yeah. Okay. I see where this is going. Oh, I dropped my little bottle cap there. My dog's name is Falco. Falco. No N. Rick, John Wayne's footprint at the Chinese theater have his first imprint too. You should go see it. Oh, I should go. I'll make a whole episode like this is the footprint in the episode. It's not the exact same thing, but that is cool. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching the live stream. Don't forget to hit a thumbs up if you haven't. You guys are amazing. Thank you for so many people coming on here at one time. I really do appreciate. You are awesome. Don't forget to always stay positive, always better yourself, and most importantly, be hopeful. I don't know what that head thing was, but